Welcome back. I'd like to walk you through a project that I built called Gray, an AI-powered voice assistant that runs in the browser and talks back to you as much like a Siri or the Alexa, but as a personal web app with its own memory of the conversation. So the idea behind the Gray is simple. Like instead of just typing into a chatbot, you can literally talk to it. You press a button, speak your questions, and Gray listens, thinks, replies in a text and then speaks the answers back out loud. And all inside a clean voice first interface. Behind the scenes, every conversation is saved into a database under your account, so you can come back later and browse the past chat session, pick up and where you left off. So the project is a full stack application split into the two halves. The front end is built with the React and the Vite and is styled with the Tailwind CSS, and it's the part that the user actually see and talks to it. And it uses the browser's built-in web speech APIs, that is speech recognition, to convert your voice into text, and the speech synthesis to convert the Grace text replies back into the speech. So there's a glowing animated orb at the pointer. Uh, you can say simply a part of the user actually sees, and there's a glowing animated orb at the center so of the screen that visually changes. It pulses red while listening and a blue while speaking and gray while thinking. So the interface itself communicate associate states. So now I can go through the backend. That is a Python API built with the fast API, a modern async web framework. It handles three core jobs, basically a user authentication, chat persistent, and AI-powered response generation, authentication using JWT tokens, and the backup password hashings, and authentication using the JWT tokens, password hashing, so the user accounts and the credentials are handled securely. Chat data, sessions, and individual message is stored in the PostgreSQL database through the SQL alchemies, async ORM, and which means every conversation a user has is durable and tied to their account. Now I will show you how to run this project. Now I'm showing you how to run this project. So here it actually to run the front-end part, just simply go to the front-end folder, cd.frontend, and just run npm runtime. It will start the app. And for the backend part, you just need to take the terminals. And what we need to do, just simply activate the virtual environment, then run the application, then run the command ubiconf app main.reload rebase. So it will automatically open the app in the 8000 ports. So how it actually goes. So when I'm clicking on this thing, so it will run on the more front end. So I will go to the front end part. So when I will localhost, so what it will actually do, I will just go to the login part, as it is also the user authentication part will also be there to secure your user chat. So simply you can just simply go and run. Okay. So Gray basically it is a complete real world application, a secure user systems. So what we need is simply logging into the system. So and minimum password will be having a it will just using the JWT backup token. So to identify the resolver. So when you enter it, it will open it like this. So here what we can see here just a clean interface that shows how the UI look like. So here it is a new chat if you want to open a new chat and also store the strings, and it was just like the AI model that you want to use. So now let me show you how it works. So when you ask the chat, like just click on the voice button. Hi, what about you? So whenever I ask some kind of query like what is Big Bang Theory?
The Big Bang is the leading theory of how the universe began, about 13.8 billion years ago from an extremely hot, dense point that rapidly expanded.
So tell me a joke. So as the current you exceeded my current quota. So if you can also add the new chat also, and you can also if you go back to the previous chat, you can just simply click on it. It will store the history as well. So if you want to just go from the new chat and you can start the conversations. Now let me walk you through the coding part. So here is the backend part in which the main.py file is there. So what it actually does, application the entry point, it creates the fast API where the wires of the course error as well. And so the call can call the API on the localhost 8000 and create the database tables on the startup via the lifespan code and mounts the two routers and auth and chat and also exposes to the slash API health as well. Now I can open the config.py file. It is basically centralize the setting using the pydantic setting.base setting. What it will store the data in the PostgreSQL always, and JWT secret key also, and JWT hashing algorithm as you just 256, and secret algorithms, query OpenAI API key, and route the course origin. Now if I go to the app.models folder, and in which the user.py file and the chat.py file. So first the user.py is just simply the user ID, email, password, hash password is active or not, created, add the chat and you simply take the user and here the chat.py file. It will just store the chat session as well. Belongs to the user has a title and a timestamp. Chat message what belongs to the session has a role of the user slash assistant and and has a removing the user session cleans up everything to beneath it. Now if I go to the app.services folder, here it is. Just say, here it is the auth services and the AI services folder. So if I go to the authentication services, it will just take the pure authentication logic like hashing, verifying the password with a big crypt, encoding or decoding JWT with a Python JOS and database lookup for users by this email ID token, carry the user ID as a sub this and this. Just wait a second. Carry the user ID code token, create token, get user by email, get user by ID, create user, and just simply add it on this. And it will all users, it is used to protect the what it will do, it will looking for the users by email ID token, carry the user ID as an expiry after the 7 days. They are to expiry minutes. Then if I go to the order of device services, here it is, routers. So here what actually it does, the conversational core exposing and API chat messages, get AI responses, get chat sessions, get AI chat sessions ID, and delete the API chat session ID also. And if I go for the AI and services and the AI services, here just to train a simple model like how to behave, like what is actually it has been there, and the most distinctive five piece of the project. Before calling me any external AI like local response runs the latest user message through the an unordered list and 80 plus compile latest pattern discovering the greeting, time, date, and math science and some kind of question should be there. And to train this model. Now I can go through the front-end part. This is all the back-end part, also the database file. It will all store the same session database file, and this will all store the data and as well. Now I can go through the front-end part here in which the app.js file and app.js files. Here is the starting the routing parts, login slash registers and protected slash routes, wrapping up protected route which checks the user all and redirects the unauthenticated users to login. And here also the SRC folder in which the context folder is there. So auth context will be there. So what it will do, it will just react context providing the users loading and login registration, login, logout, and some kind of methods they can use. And backed by the JWT stored in a local storage and validated against the API slash auth view on the load. So this is all those SRCs complete folder services in which the API.js file configured Axios instances, a request intercept attached the JWT as a bearer header, a response interceptor catches the 401's clear stored tokens and redirect the login exposed if we got something like this and expose the auth API and chat API helper operate mapping to the backend projects. And SRC hooks folder will be there. There it is. It is used for the speech recognition and speech synthesis, where it wraps the browsers. Yes, it will wrap the browsers using the WebKit speech recognition API. It exposes is listening and is live or live transcript supported for browser without the speech support, and start listening on the final and stop listening, streams enter results and fires a callback with a final transcript. And also this use speech synthesis is used by the growth AI. What it will do, it will just grab the Windows.speech synthesis and get the voices and transcribe it. And English voice is favoring the Google voice exposes and it is speaking and this speak text, it stop speaking like this. Then here also the pages folder, which the services assistant will be there. So what it will do, it is the main screen combines both hooks with the chat state, a gray or component renders a glowing animated choice circles as you can see in the it is like this and delivered reactively from the speaking recognition, loading and synthesis states, manages and the chat sessions, load switches, and delete, start new. It will send the new message to the chat API, send messages, and optimistically renders that the user's message shows a loading thinking state and speak the assistant reply around TTS is enabled and include also the quick commands as well. Present the prompts users can tap instead of speaking or typing, and also you have the component which will handle the nav bar, top bar with the info, chat message renders on a single message bubble, chat info text box with send button. So the request flow will be in like user logs in, front end store the JWT Axios attaches to it every request. User taps in the mic, user use speech recognition, writes, transcribe the speech to text, handle the send messages, front end calls chat APIs, send messages, session ID content, then backend API chat messages, authenticate the user, load the create and the session, and fetches the message history and calls the get AI responsive. And AI services will check the 80 regis rules first. If no matches, if carry OpenAI, then GPT 4.0 mini will be used. Both messages are saved to the PostgreSQL and then this response returned to the front end and the UI renders the reply and using the speech synthesis speaks it aloud and while gray or animates to reflect the speaking status. That's all for this project. Uh, Thank you. So, in short summary, I can simply say Gray demonstrated a complete real-world application, a secure user system, a persistent conversational database, a voice-driven interface using the native browser APIs, and the smart, cost-aware AI integration layer that blends rule-based logic with large language models. It's a practical example of how to combine modern web technology with AI to build something that feels like less like a form and more like a conversation. So that's all for it. Thank you.